And we're back with an old friend, Colin Berg with the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife. Colin, good to have you back, buddy.
Glad to be back as always.
Education.
Education. That's right.
We're talking about the young ones, right?
Exactly.
What's going on for the young ones?
Actually, for 4th through 12th grade, this is the time of year when schools that want to get involved in our next round of education program training so that next year they can start offering our programs within their school systems. They need to sign up now because we have courses that cover our Archery in the Schools program, explore bow hunting. Actually, in this video right here, they're building the internal organs of a white-tailed deer to actually shoot into the target and be able to tell where they'd hit the animal. We also have a Fishing in Schools program, explore bow fishing, that's in our schools, and then we've got a scholastic shooting sports program and a shotgun shooting program. And we'll start doing our workshops in May, June and July and August for the next round of teachers, schools to get involved. We offer equipment kit grants. 50 schools will receive those grants this next school year, and it covers basically everything except for about $1,600 in cost of the archery equipment. They get about almost $8,000 worth of equipment when they sign up for all of our programs and get involved with them, from anywhere from the bows that they use in the Archery in the Schools program that we provide, and we've got resource kits that go along with the Explore Bow Hunting and Bow Fishing curriculums. And same thing with the Scholastic Shooting Sports program curriculum. They receive equipment to use that within their school, everyday school activities. So,
well, now, Colin, with the school situation being what it is across the state, will the deadlines be pushed back?
As far as the getting involved in the schools, since we do these during different times, they can just sign up, let us know. They contact us through our wildlifedepartment.com and get signed up for the course. We'll email one of my coordinators and he'll let them know when the next training course is coming up. We do have an event coming up that's our Scholastic Shooting Sports regional shoots that are going on here at Old Capitol Gun Club. The 10th and 11th is when they're scheduled for April here. And these are for high school and junior high age students. This is a program we've been doing now for 6 years in Oklahoma. We've got 165 high schools and about 60 junior high teams that are involved in the program. It's an activity that we're still planning to do. You know, schools, hopefully they'll get back in the session, but it's an activity that's an after-school activity, so the schools are still planning to show up just like they're competing in their baseball and softball and volleyball and different things that are going on right now in speech competition.
I'm struggling to remember the young man's name, but there was a young fellow about 15 or 16 years ago from Owasso who went through a program similar to this or like this with the department, and he was interested in shooting and became a competitive shooter for the Marine Corps.
Yeah. Paid
his way through college by shooting at targets.
Yep.
For the Marines.
Yep, there's several state schools now. Panhandle State is a school that's offering scholarships. Connors also offers scholarships to kids getting involved in the shooting sports program, shotgun shooting. OSU's got a shooting sports team as well that kids travel. They don't offer college scholarships yet, but they help cover some of the cost of the traveling thing for the team members. It's a growing activity again within not just our lower level, but also at the collegiate level.
You know, with so much available for the average Oklahoman, it takes education to bring them up to speed to let them know what's going on. Does it cover? Do you have educational facilities going for, say, fishing?
Yeah, we've got an education program that goes along with the fishing. We give them a $500 fishing kit that goes along with that, rods and reels that they can use in their classroom. Yeah, we've got a fishing curriculum that we put together that was authored in conjunction with the department as well as the University of Central Oklahoma. College of Education helped us draft that curriculum and put it together, and it's being used by about 300 schools in Oklahoma.
No kidding.
Yeah. So it's pretty neat that, you know, the shotgun program is, like I said, in 165. The archery program is in over 600 schools now.
Sure.
So.
Wow. Golly, it must be a great feeling to know that you've helped that many children
Oh, it's, what we do is we train the teachers. It's all the teachers that do the work at the school that get these kids involved
Don't they
and
always?
participate. And then spend a lot of extra time in a lot of cases that
Yeah.
after hours with the students participating and practicing for our competitions that we have. Our agency, we've got about 365 employees within our agency. That's statewide. That includes, we have everything from law enforcement division to wildlife division that's in charge of managing our public hunting areas, and they also work with private landowners across the state. And then we've got our fisheries division that works with managing our fisheries, everything from our streams to all the major reservoirs that we've got across the state that they do sampling on. We're a small agency, but we do a lot of good work, I think, as far as working with folks across Oklahoma, and Oklahoma, boasts some of the most outstanding opportunities across our state. We're very diverse, from prairie chickens to alligator gar to antelope out in the panhandle, even bighorn sheep. Did you know we have bighorn sheep?
I did not know that,
out in
and
Black Mesa
seeing
area.
that, I thought, oh, he's made a mistake.
No, we've got bighorn sheep now that are out in the Black Mesa
beautiful,
area. So
beautiful.
all this stuff that our agency's involved with, we're charged with managing these species to ensure that they exist for future generations, as well as introducing, the programs that I work with. We're working on introducing that next round of sportsmen and women through our school programs that are going to be the ones that are going to be buying their license.
What are they
and
doing
funding
here?
wildlife population. They were actually fertilizing eggs for walleye, probably is what they were doing, either walleye or hybrids, right there in that video. So
God.
it's a very, like I said, we're a very diverse state, and a lot of folks don't realize that we're that small of an agency and totally funded by the sale of hunting and fishing license sales or a excise tax that there is on hunting and fishing related equipment. So, the sportsmen and women that buy their license and buy ammunition and buy their firearms, they help support our agency and make sure that we're going to have those opportunities to hunt and fish for years to come.
Protect the land and she'll protect you.
That's exactly right.
All right, on a lighter note, you know what's coming.
I know what you're going to ask.
Pardon me. A couple of weeks ago, I'm sitting in the den at my home. You're not going to believe this, but it's hand to God, it happened. I look up in a tree in my backyard, and in this tree, it's a big oak, by the way, there's a duck. And in just a couple of minutes, another duck joined it. Wasn't just any duck. It was a duck, the one with the green head and the white ring around
Mallard,
it.
yeah.
And I thought, I'm really hallucinating, because I've been kind of under the weather.
Yeah.
And in just a couple of minutes, they flew off to a neighbor's house, and they sat up on top where the roof comes together and looked around like they owned that.
Yeah.
Then they flew to another tree. Is that common?
It's not for that species, not very common for that species. Not going to say that it didn't happen, because I've seen those mallards resting on trees around the water's edge before, where they're standing up on a tree that's out of the water. So it possibly could happen. It could have been trying to escape a predator that they were being chased by. Hawks might have caused them to fly up in that area. The common species that we've got that people do see quite a bit is wood ducks that will nest actually in a cavity. They're cavity nesters in trees, and you'll see them along stream systems and lakes, and they raise their young, and when those young hatch out, they jump out of the nest into the water.
And they're gone.
That's right.
I got the keys, Dad. I'll see you in a week.
Pretty neat to
Well,
watch.
I really thought it was a hallucination, and so did my wife when I told her about it. But as it turns out, I've since found video on Google
Yeah.
of these ducks and other kinds resting in trees, and I thought, see, wasn't the medication.
There you go. There you go. You got video evidence to back you up on it.
You've been in the department long enough. You ever see anything out there that kind of makes you go, I didn't know that, from time to time?
Well, one of the things that I saw in this part of the state, it's probably been 8 or 10 years ago. A buddy of mine, we were out hunting here in Osage County, which is a very rocky county, and I went to open a gate, and there was a badger there right beside the gate. And I thought, man, this is awful rocky, rough country for a badger to try to, usually they're in the western part of the state. And that's the furthest east that I've ever seen a badger here in Oklahoma, which was pretty neat to see. Another experience that I had when I was working in the Panhandle, or out in northwest Oklahoma, I was out in Cheyenne area, Cheyenne, Oklahoma, and I looked out across the prairie, and here comes an emu.
Oh, get out of here.
No, I'm serious. There was a pair of emus that probably somebody had had on their place and had gotten out of their pens, and is just out in the wide open prairie. Stuff that you see and hear, and people see and hear in a lot of cases, that a lot of folks will discount. There's a lot of different things that happen in here in Oklahoma. One neat thing that I just saw posted on Facebook this week that a lot of people won't get a chance to see themselves ever is we were in the flyway for whipping cranes, and there were 29 cranes that were out at the Salt Plains this last week.
Kidding.
Yeah, that were on their migration route back up north. They summer down in Texas. Aransas National Wildlife Refuge is where they summer at, and those birds were on their way back. And it was just a few years ago that whipping cranes were almost extinct. They're still endangered, but it's pretty neat to realize that Oklahoma is part of their travel route, and we get them each year, fall and
We're out of
spring
time,
coming back
Cole.
through.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
It always goes so fast when you're here. And teachers, if any of you are listening to a television right now, please keep in mind when school comes back into session, the deadlines are approaching. There'll be others. Give them a call. That's all the time we have for this edition of Perspectives. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.